Good afternoon, everyone. Let me introduce myself. I am Antina Delhita from Universitas Negeri Surabaya. Today, I will report my research entitled Profile of Undergraduate Research Framework Construction in Chemistry Education from Ontological, Epistemological, and Axiological Dimension. My research background starts from the definition of research framework. Research framework is a conceptual model linking theory and research variables, forming the foundation of a research paradigm. Ontologically, it depicts variables, theoretical relationship, and problem-solving logic within a coherent structure. Epistemologically, research frameworks is constructed from theories, concept, prior studies, and state-of-the-art evidence through deductive reasoning. Axiologically, research frameworks guides hypothesis formulations, research designs, instrument development, and data analysis. We did preliminary analysis of 10 chemistry education theses, and we revealed the weak coherence between research frameworks and other thesis chapters. Meanwhile, the previous studies mainly focused on students' thesis writing difficulties, while the research frameworks, especially ontology, epistemology, and axiology dimensions, remain underexplored. That's why we need to conduct further research for understanding the profile of students' research framework construction. It is essential because poor frameworks may lead to weak hypotheses and less valid findings. The research objective is to obtain the profile of research framework of chemistry education students viewed from the dimension of ontology, epistemology, and axiology. This research design uses quantitative descriptive design, and the research subject consists of 23 undergraduate students in the chemistry education program who were in the process of preparing their thesis proposals. The instrument used assessment instrument for formulating a research framework in 3 dimensions, which are ontology, epistemology, and axiology dimension. The data were collected from documents outlining students' research frameworks, analyzed using assessment rubric covering the dimension of ontology, epistemology, and axiology. And the data were analyzed by using percentages and category interpretation to identify the profile of students' research framework formulation in each dimension. And the results is divided into 3 dimensions. The first one is ontological dimension. From this table, we know that the research framework in ontological dimension is dominated as correct, and only 17.39 research framework is correct. In the epistemological dimension, we know that the quality of research framework is dominated moderately high quality. It means that only 3 indicators met. And the weakness is in indicators 4 and 6. And the third one is in axiology dimension is dominated by moderately high quality, which means that only 3 or 4 indicators are met. And the weakness is in indicators 5 to 7. Now let's continue to discussion. The first one is in ontological dimensions. From this research, we found that students are not yet able to elaborate on problems and formulated issues in thesis research proposals. And students are not yet able to identify gaps by delving into the topic to be researched. As a result, the research framework does not function as a logical foundation for the research, but rather becomes just a compilation of theories or literature citations. And second is in epistemological dimension, we found that the weakness are in 2 indicators. which is indicator 4 and 6. It means that students have not yet been able to practice deductive thinking. With the weakness in deductive thinking ability, it results in logical flaws or gaps in students' argument when connecting theory, empirical data, and the proposed hypothesis. And the last one in axiological dimensions, on indicator 5, some of the student research framework have not yet shown consistency with the presentation of data analysis techniques and conclusion criteria in methodology. As a result, the measurement results of the variables become questionable. And for indicator 6 and 7, the percentage shows 0%. This is because the students are still in the stage of preparing their thesis proposals. Meanwhile, indicator 6 and 7 are used to assess the construct relationship between the research framework and organization data in the result and discussion chapter. Several studies indicate the writing that the methodology chapter poses difficulties for students, particularly in determining the research design, sample selection and type, data collection instrument and techniques, as well as the use of statistical formulas in data analysis. The contributing factors of the lack of references available and difficulty in finding relevant reference, insufficient understanding among students, lack of self-motivation, laziness, and time constraint. These findings indicates that the student research framework has not yet been fully integrated philosophically. The improvement effort focused on learning experience are needed. The learning experience consists of seven activities, which are exploration of proportion of hope and factual propositions, conducting gap analysis, exploration and elaboration to identify the main factors causing the problems, formulating research problem, formulating and reflecting on the conceptual and operational definition of variables, practicing deductive thinking and argumentation, and the last one is implementing the formulated research framework into the operational framework of research. The conclusion from this research are ontologically, most students' research frameworks are incorrect. Students are not yet able to identify the variables in the problem formulation and represent the construct of relationship between variables holistically. As a result, the formulation of the research framework is merely a series of literature reviews. Epistemologically, the formulation of the research frameworks can be considered moderately high quality. Weaknesses were found in the practice of deductive thinking and the relevance of students' research previous studies. As a result, there are logical flaws or gaps in the students' arguments when connecting theory, empirical data, and the proposed hypothesis. Axiologically, the formulation of the student research framework is moderately high quality. It has not yet demonstrated consistency with the presentation of data analysis techniques, and conclusion criteria in the research method. As a result, the measurement outcomes of the variables become questionable. Improvement efforts are needed that focus on the learning experience of exploring the proposition of hope versus reality, analyzing gaps and root causes, formulating problems and variable concept, and practicing deductive thinking to be implemented into the research operational frameworks. Our deepest appreciation to the coordinator program of chemistry education, thesis supervisor, and chemistry education students at Universitas Negeri Surabaya who participated in and supported the research process. Thank you, everyone. For further information, you can contact us at Suyona at Unesa at ac.ac.id.